Hello and welcome to the UTIOM podcast. That is the Under the Influence of Music podcast. My name is Rob Gaudio. I'm happy to be with you all today, and today I'm in the studio with some really exciting people. We've got my boy on my right. This is Elliot Williams.
What up? How you guys doing? It's L.
All right, we got Jasmine right across from me.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Good stuff. And today, for the first UTIOM podcast, we have our buddy Dwayne Kirkland in the studio with us. What up, Dwayne?
Hey, what's good, people? What's going on?
Yeah, nothing. We're just hanging out. We're trying to live our best lives in here for sure. So this is the first UTIOM podcast. We're really excited to have you with us. We are another part of we're part of a music blog, essentially, the Under the Influence of Music blog. You can find us over at UTIOM.com. So Elliot, you want to tell us just a little bit about UTIOM, kind of what we stand for, what we do?
For sure. So we're coming up actually on our 6-month anniversary of when we launched the website, and that's basically what it is. It's a site where a lot of our friends, we talk about music, we talk about new releases, we even talk about our guilty pleasures, some songs that we're not too proud to tell people we listen to, but we listen to them anyway. So we do that. We have TV reviews, and then we've got social media out there. So we're just basically getting started, and this podcast is a huge part of that. So
absolutely, we're really excited to have you with us. So pretty much what Under the Influence of Music means to me, I don't know about you, Ian, Jasmine, but it's the fact that music kind of gets into our everyday life. It's a part of everything I do. It inspires the kind of the way I live my life, and a lot of different things that I'm personally into. And so our guest today, Dwayne, is actually has climbed to internet celebrity a little bit for rapping for a job at VAYNERMEDIA. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about that later, and we're really excited to have him in the studio. But before we get to that, we're going to talk a little bit about a artist who I'm a huge fan of, who inspires lots of people every day, especially people struggling with addiction and who are kind of just out there trying to live their best life, and that is recently married Gucci Mane.
Bird. We all had it on point.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gucci got married this week. I'm like, I don't know. If you want, go check it out on his Instagram. We'll tweet out a couple pictures of it. The wedding looked absolutely lit. I mean, they were all dressed out, decked in white. He had that cake that was like 15 feet tall.
They cut it with like a sword.
That cake was so beautiful, but it was so big.
They cut it with a sword, a straight up sword.
It says everything you need to know about their wedding.
Yeah, and not to mention his wife is fine. She is.
Gotta admit, yeah.
She's pretty.
She's pretty.
She is pretty.
Everybody looked really nice. They had so many people at that wedding.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I have a question. Are they the new first couple of rap?
Are they the new first couple of rap? I don't know.
You don't want to get Beyonce fans mad.
I don't know.
I'm always pissing off Beyonce fans.
That's
what I do on the side. I just piss off Beyonce fans.
Shout out to the Beehive. Please do not come for us. All right.
Me.
So he also put out a new album this week, Gucci. It's Gucci Mane. It's called Mr. Davis. This is the first one of the big, huge tracks off of it. This is Jumped Out the Whip featuring A$AP Rocky.
So much Gucci on the loafers. I might turn into the spokesman.
All right, so Dwayne, what'd you think of that?
Well, there's a reason they call Gucci Mane the Snowman. Or was that Jeezy? Dang, I probably screwed that up.
Oh well,
that was ice cold.
Yeah, it was
that
tight.
Was very
it was tight. Love it. And A$AP's verse was where it's at. So Gucci also recently put out an autobiography because he's just living his best right now. He's killing it. So we actually have someone who wrote about it for the blog, right?
Oh yeah, we got Kel Sampson. She's a new writer for us. You could check it out on UTIOM.com. She basically does a book review, and she talks about how Gucci wrote this book with Neil Martinez Belkin, who was a former XXL editor and author. So they basically go back to his humble beginnings, and then starting in Atlanta, and basically how he gave birth to trap music in Atlanta.
He did.
And of course, he has that famous line, if you keep looking back, you're going to trip moving forward. So that's motivation for all of us.
I love that.
So I read about the autobiography, actually, and I think it was an article on People. And they were in the book, like Gucci mentions that going to jail actually sort of put his life on a straight path, and that Keisha actually helped do that for him because he was going through all this stuff in jail, like withdrawing, like he was addicted to lean before he went in. But that like Keisha was a really constant force in his life, even though she could have left if she wanted to, but she kind of like helped him like through all those like things that he was going in jail and become a better person and keep making good music and just reminded him of the type of person he is. So I thought it was interesting that that autobiography sort of correlates, well, like it's just like happening at the same time as the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, he's done this complete 180, and he's become this kind of spokesperson for positivity in rap music and hip hop culture, kind of today, and it's awesome. It's awesome to hear. All right, so now before we move on to our next segment, I want to give a thank you to WERW for having us today. WERW is a college radio station up at Syracuse University. We're coming to you live from the basement of Shine. Now, you can find WERW online at WERW.com and all over social media. So thanks to those guys. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about this month's theme on our blog real quick. So this month's theme is the first album you ever bought. We're going to be reviewing the first album we ever bought of all time. So what I'm going to do right now is, Dwayne, so tell me, what is the first album you ever purchased?
The first album I ever purchased was The Chronic by Dr. Dre.
Damn, The Chronic by Dr. Dre. So what, you came out like, with your own money, went down to because we grew up in a time where there was still, like record stores and shit, and you'd have to go and buy CDs,
Yeah, that one was actually hard to find. Like, obviously it wasn't in like a Walmart or anything like that. So I had to go to this local place called Soundgarden here in Syracuse, and I found it.
Yeah, Soundgarden up in Syracuse. Love that place. Absolutely. All right, so for those of you who don't know, we're going to play a little bit of Nothing But a G Thing.
What a halified gangster lean, getting funky on the mic like an old batch of collard greens. It's the capital S-O-S of fresh and double O-P, D-O-double-G-Y-D.
All right, so that's a top-notch first purchase. I was definitely not woke to hip-hop music back then. I was busy being, just my young little self, and I happened to have the first album that I purchased was, I would say, completely the opposite of The Chronic. Mine was Backstreet Boys' Millennium.
Still fire. They're both fire. Yeah.
Fire in a completely different way. And so, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was very much a slave to Radio Disney growing up. That was my jam.
Who wasn't? Like,
I know,
what?
right? I know, right? But I would listen. I actually called in once and won a Hot Wheels racetrack on Radio Disney.
Oh,
yeah,
I never got through. It made me so upset.
I know the busy line, but I finally got through, and I think hearing that first thing on the radio, hearing myself as a little kid, I was like, oh man, I gotta do something like this. But I don't know.
That's the inspiration for us now. That's
hopefully, thanks
Radio
Disney Channel.
Shout out to
you. Shout out to Disney Channel.
So in case you guys forgot, Backstreet Boys, the kind of the huge hit off that album was Larger Than Life, and the song really is larger than life. I mean, it's bigger than, like, you hear all these like boy bands out now, and I guess like the K-pop boys bands and whatever, but nothing compares to the OG Backstreet Boys. And
Dwayne,
NSYNC.
were you a Backstreet Boys fan or an NSYNC fan, or you can be both? But which one were you more?
I was a Backstreet Boys fan because
That's what I'm talking about.
I grew up on like Burger King and stuff. And,
Yeah.
like, you got like the VHS. Like,
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah, that's right.
So all the figures, that was pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I know it might have been a little after our time, but I remember like all the kids in the neighborhood had like hit clips. Remember that? It was
Oh
like
my
one little
gosh,
song, and you put it in like a little player. Yeah. And so I was always jealous I never got my Backstreet Boys hit clips. But that being said, here's Larger Than Life from the Backstreet Boys off their 2000 album. So that was my first album I ever bought. I think you guys can, sort of understand where I get all my music references.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, right, doesn't it? I would say so. So I guess that kind of goes really nicely into, what was your first album, Jasmine?
So I was also a pop lover when I was younger, and I was into Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, Mandy Moore. I had all of them.
Oh, damn.
So my first CD purchase was actually 12 CDs, not just one. But the first one I remember opening is Hit Me Baby One More Time. I don't know if that was the name of the CD, but the Britney Spears one. And if anyone else out there remembers, like in the TV guides, in the magazines, like they would have this thing that said 12 CDs for the price of one. Mm-hmm. And if anyone else ever did it, can you guys let me know? Because I know I'm not going crazy. That's how I ordered mine.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but apparently.
Yeah, so I ordered all these CDs. Britney Spears was the first one that came. I think she was on the cover with like a white tank top and a red, like she was she was like a little
outfit.
Cute girl.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, man.
So yeah, and even to this day, I still love Britney. Like I'm a Britney fan. I just think she makes great music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that stuff can just like take you right back. Like I remember the first time I saw that music video, just sitting there and being like, my mouth was on the floor and my mom was like trying to cover my eyes. So I was just like,
and I wanted to dress. This is why it's true. Like whatever you watch influences you. I wanted to dress just like that, even though it was completely
Your parents
inappropriate.
were like,
no.
And I was
off.
in Catholic school, so I could. So I used to like try to roll up my skirt a little bit, and it was just not appropriate.
The nuns were not having that. All right, so we're gonna hit you guys with "Baby One More Time" by Britney Spears, throwing it way back.
So, a great song choice, Jasmine. Great song. I'm still trying to figure out how you got 12 albums for the price of one, but we'll talk about that later.
I'm gonna put the flyer on Twitter later.
Please do for the fans. But yeah, just wanted to talk about the producer of that song, Max Martin. He's actually one of the first people I wrote about in my young music journalism career back at Villanova.
There you go.
Shout out to Villanova.
Because you're so old now.
I'm so old. I'm so old. Such a career veteran. But yeah, this guy's produced everything, man. From the Weeknd's "Can't Feel My Face" to Adele songs to Taylor Swift's "Blank Space" to "I Want It That Way." So like, he's produced just every like teen pop song, and like he's produced that, and he's still making hits. He's like 46-year-old dude from Sweden. So if you ever wonder who like made your childhood music, it's
Max Martin. I think I saw somewhere that he's up there with the Beatles as having like some of the most #1 hits of all time, which is crazy. I mean, I can't believe that. Like, it's this guy that no one knows. Like, I mean, obviously, industry people, music people know about him, but on the street, no one's gonna know this guy, and he is absolutely dominating everything we listen to.
That's still like my dream job, is to just be the obscular guy that nobody knows, but who's responsible. Yeah, exactly. Low key legend. I love it. I love it. That's your next hit. That's your next hit.
Yeah, that's the next hit. All right. So before we get into this interview with Dwayne, we hear a little bit about his story. You wanna tell us a little bit about your first track? This one's close to my heart as well.
This one's interesting. It's not as gangster as Dwayne's, but it's up there. I bought Lil Bow Wow's soundtrack to the Like Mike soundtrack. Yeah.
Oh, with Lil Bow Wow, of course.
So that was my first.
Well, now he's just Bow Wow. He's not Lil anymore.
No,
now he's Shad Moss.
Shad Moss.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's pulling like a P Diddy where he changes his name.
Don't call him Bow Wow. Shad Moss.
Yeah, because remember there was that whole like airplane scandal where he took like a picture of a private jet that wasn't his. It was like the first Google image.
They were like roasting him on social media.
Yeah. So now he's Shad Moss, but before he was in that weird phase of life, he was making hits, man. Like, so my song is "Playing the Game" off of that.
Playing the Game off the Like Mike soundtrack. All right, let's hear it. Let's see what you got.
Ladies, if you walking through the mall and you hear somebody say, "Easy," you gotta turn back at them, and you know what? I gotta do the same thing.
That was fire, and I don't know if y'all heard, but Just Blaze was the producer on that. So
that's unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
And this album had Pharrell Williams, Jermaine Dupri, Alicia Keys. It had Nas. It had Solange Knowles. Like, this was an underrated, probably the most underrated soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it definitely, like, you could just see how that, like, 100% formed your music taste.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about all these. It kind of informs, like, what we listen to now. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. So I remember, I know you've got some big opinions on this, Jasmine. So on the war, the forever war between...
I don't know if it was different for guys, but girls, it was either you were a Lil Bow Wow fan or you were a Lil Romeo fan.
Yeah.
I think that most people were Lil Bow Wow fans because they were hopping on the bandwagon, but I was a Lil Romeo fan through and through. If anyone remembers My Cinderella, that song, like,
Ooh.
it was just like,
It's like the rap
like it
beef
just
that
melted
never
my
was.
heart as a little girl. Like,
Oh man,
Yeah.
and he had that show, Lil Romeo show
Yeah.
on Nickelodeon.
And he was a baller.
he was a
He played at
baller.
UCLA. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a baller metaphorically too, because like, have you ever seen like Crips with Master P?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is-
Dude, I will never forget that episode of the Romeo show where he went to like a pawn shop and bought a pair of grills and then left him in overnight and they got stuck in his mouth and he had like grills stuck in his mouth for like a week. Man, that was great.
We learned
That
so many,
was
we learned so
funny.
many lessons from that show.
So many lessons. Never leave
Never
your
leave
grills
your
in
grill in.
overnight. All right, so it's time to get to our why we're here today, who we're here to talk to. Our buddy Dwayne Kirkland is in the studio. He is a Syracuse native.
Yes.
He recently kind of is climbing up the viral charts here. He decided to go out for a job at VaynerMedia with Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yep.
And I don't know. Tell us a little bit about the process of how you came to the decision to do what you did.
So pretty much, like I became a fan of Gary Vee like probably a year ago, like when I started my current job, and I just listened to him casually, like as I work and stuff, and like as I'm listening to him, it's almost like he's like tugging at me, like, "Hey man, like quit your job and like come work for me and everything."
Yeah.
So like over time, I started to try to like think about ways that like I could actually try to pursue that. Probably a week before what happened, I was like DMing some kid that I thought worked there, but he did work there, but like he doesn't work there currently anymore.
Right.
And I was just like doing this thing that like Gary's always preaching about, like you approach somebody, you try to bring them value before you ask them for anything.
Yep.
So like I just offered to do some free work for that kid or whatever. Didn't go the way I wanted it to. But I found that kid because he got his, like he put up a video on YouTube about how he got his job at VaynerMedia. And pretty much what he did, since he was like a video kid,
Okay.
he did his resume in video form.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
So
So what'd you decide to do?
yeah, so like I decided to wrap my resume because Gary put out a video like a week after I was talking to that kid, saying that he was looking for creators. They put up a follow-up video after that, like while I was preparing everything to get ready for it, saying that at like 4,000 views of the Are You a Creator video that they put out, they had 150 applicants.
Wow.
So I'm just like,
I got to get on this.
yeah,
You
like,
got to get
how
on
the heck
it.
am I gonna stand out?
Yep.
So like of course, like I knew no one was gonna like wrap their resume.
So you decided to do
yeah,
it.
so I just decided to do that, and then I submitted it as like a private link, not trying to like put it up online or whatever. And the kid that I was talking to, like in the beginning of this story, he said that like, "Hey man, like I think that could go viral."
Yeah.
So, like, go figure. He encouraged me to like put it up on YouTube, so that's what I did. And
Cool. So we're gonna hear a little bit
history?
about it. We're gonna hear it a little bit right here. This is rapping for a job at VaynerMedia by our boy DKIRK here.
yeah.
I got internship on internship inside my resume. In that visual communications, I got BFA. Every time I get behind computer, I make a souffle. I can fix your homie website, I can even illustrate. Wasn't born with this, I've grown with this throughout my education. I perform with this on daily basis, I be detonating for my job. At casino, great Bambino with a mouse. Still live at my mama house, but I'm cool with moving out to the Big Apple. Working for you, yeah, I'm cool with that. I already got a Mac, might as well be there on the map. You should hire me not simply cause I emailed an inquiry, but cause it ain't a secret. You won't find this in a diary that I'm a hard worker and you can criticize, and I won't take it personal. I know there's room to rise. I hope this emphasize that for the job I'm fit, and if you're penny wise, then you'll realize I'm really it. It's legit, never quit. I'm a different applicant. I'm a real counter puncher. I am not a counterfeit. Yes, I'm cruising for a bruising. I know winning comes with losing, but enough of my lips moving. Hire me, let's get the proof and gone.
So now that you're gone, did you get the job?
Yes, I did.
Woo,
Congratulations.
That's awesome. That's
that video is viral too, right? That's on.
Yeah, pretty much. Like between probably like the Facebook video that he put out and YouTube has probably got like close to 100,000 views.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, and you're like up in the millions now, right?
Yeah, that video for that song or whatever, that has like 1.2 million.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so cool.
That's awesome.
It's okay.
No, I mean, growing that organically, you got a gig out of it. That's so cool.
Creative dude. And you also put out a music video recently. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, I did. So pretty much like I was in a daze like after the video went viral and everything, and like you can't let that kind of attention just die down. So I was trying to follow it up. So like that same weekend, right after that, I just shot the music video, and I pretty much just tried to, just make something lighthearted and fun. So you guys should go check that out too if you want to.
Absolutely. We'll put the link in our SoundCloud link. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a couple questions for you. So it's first, this kind of comes with the territory, but I mean, there's some haters out there. There's some people coming at you in the YouTube comments.
I've seen it.
I mean, what do you want to say? I mean, like Gary took the chance on you, so like that's your validation, right? That's huge. But what do you have to say to the people who are coming at you in the comments?
Pretty much, like focusing on like putting negativity in my life isn't doing anything constructive for you.
Yeah.
So like I have no like bad blood towards you or anything. Just chase your own dreams, pursue what you want to pursue. If you felt like you could do it better, then you try doing it for your own situation.
Yeah,
that's right.
And manifest what you want for your life, So just all love. It's all good.
Good stuff. Yeah, for sure. No, we feel it. That's a big thing. It's the whole idea of like just radiate positivity through music, through all that.
Don't like. That's a good point to talk about. Like, don't hate on other people while you could be focusing on yourself.
It takes
and like
out so much energy, like to actually sit there and like type out a message.
Some people have some long messages. I'm like, you're wasting time. You could be making your own video. But like some people are saying, like, I think just people kind of hate on anything that's viral and anybody's success. So like, what do you say to people who like, they say you just went viral, but you haven't done the work behind. Like you've been doing work, you've been designing, you've been clearly in music. So
well, I say first off, I can't argue with that. Like to an extent, you're right. Like. I haven't done anything like I tell myself that just to humble myself because that's one viral video. Can I do it again? I believe so. In the same way, like will it be the same story or anything? Probably not. So I'm just trying to find a way to reapproach that.
But you've been working on designing for a while. So can you talk a little bit about how you got into that, and is that like your passion, designing?
Yeah, it is. It's like my second bay, I guess. Like first bay is rap, and that's kind of how I found design was through rap. Like like coming up, like just making mixtapes in high school. Just trying to do like my own cover art and stuff. So that's how I kind of like started toying around with like Photoshop and everything, learning about design. And then like I was really sold on design as like a career path in college. Like it was like my sophomore year,
right?
And I was first pursuing animation and stuff because I had like Pixar dreams and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
That takes a crap ton
That's
of work.
That's a ton of work.
They spend like 7 years on one movie sometimes. And it's crazy. So I lost my ambitions for that, and I like switched my major over to graphic design, and
rest is history.
Been working at it. Yeah.
Awesome. So would you say that your like your connection with, or how would you say that your connection with music and like hip hop culture kind of influences your design work?
It definitely influences me in a way that I try to like just hack culture. Like I feel like my video partially probably went viral because of its like the connection that it has to like what's current, like what's hot right now in the culture. I think also it allows me to not be so serious about it. Like if you were to ask me like name 5 historical like graphic designers, I couldn't. Shame on me, but at the same time it's like I know it's cool now because like I'm culturally connected, and like hip hop like a big part of it is like the visual aesthetic to like the artistry. So I guess that kind of helps me communicate my ideas and stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it that way. I mean, it's so, especially you think of someone like, you know, like Frank Ocean, who's like so in tune with the visual aspect of his whole thing. I mean, Pharrell especially as well, like going from NERD to his personal stuff, and that shift there is huge, and so that's really awesome.
Yeah, like these days people don't just put out an album; they put out a zine, a magazine, a design line.
Odd Future too. I mean, like I didn't even like those guys. They're all over the place.
Like who I think is like really killing it as far as like focusing on aesthetics is Travis Scott. Like that dude, like his image and everything, it all matches the music. Like the video matches everything. Like I think he does a really good job at like the things he do.
And I mean, you're here wearing a St. Pablo hat. I mean, did you go to the live show? Did you see
Kanye?
I
did.
So you saw Travis. You saw Travis on that bird going around, right?
No. This was I didn't see Travis on the St. Pablo tour. I saw Travis on the Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight tour.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I seen him in Pittsburgh. He didn't have the levitating bird that he has in the Kendrick show. But
Kendrick, that's who you're looking for. Yeah.
But he had the big bird like behind the cage. It was pretty tight.
That's awesome.
I wish I saw him when he came here to the Dome.
Yeah. He did come to Syracuse last year.
Yeah. Speaking of Syracuse, let's talk about Syracuse a little bit. So like, where did you record this song, and where do you record your music?
Subcat Studios. If you ever in town, I would recommend that you work with those guys because they're pretty talented and just nice guys.
Oh yeah, shout out Subcat. So like, can you describe the Syracuse music scene like for people that don't know about it?
I would say the Syracuse music scene is like very underrated, and it's definitely bubbling a little bit. Like I think we need just a catalyst to like just help us like blow up or whatever, whether that be me, not to like to my own horn saying that could be me or whatever, but like we need someone to like get us to mainstream attention so people start looking here, because we definitely got a lot of like undiscovered talent here that
man. So those guys are top notch. Check out their new album. It's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you can find music, and enjoy that kind of stuff. So we actually have a kind of funny story. Jasmine and Dwayne have actually met before, right, guys?
Small place.
I don't know if he remembers, but his name sounded so familiar to me, and like for some reason I just remembered the sound of it. I don't know what it was. Like I interview so many people for so many stories that I do here at Syracuse.
We're veteran journalists, so
because I've been doing this for so long. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wait. So I went back to my files and I like started looking, and then I'm like, I definitely interviewed this kid before, and I ran into you outside of a polling booth during the 2016 presidential election. Because we were out there covering what was going on in the polls, and I'm like, I need to interview someone, and I grabbed him. And so he was like the lead of one of the stories that I wrote, because he told me that it was actually your first time voting, and that Chance the Rapper had influenced you to go to the polls.
Yeah, so for anybody that wasn't aware, like Chance the Rapper had like a pretty cool movement that he had going on, where he was like walking fans to the polls, just taking hundreds of kids to like go register to vote and stuff, and vote for the first time and everything. So I follow Chance pretty heavily, and I thought that was pretty inspirational, and I think we all could attest to the current political situation being kind of sloppy, and making kids our age more subjected to like actually pay attention and everything. So for the first time ever, I wanted my voice to be heard, and I guess Chance played like a pretty cool role in that. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, if anything came out of this election, this whole cycle, whatever's been going on in this country right now, it's that people are more involved. People care more so than I've ever seen in my young life. And so it's it's an exciting time, and it's cool that when artists get out there and kind of no matter what their opinions are, if they're getting people out and they're talking about real issues, I mean, it's important stuff. So with that, is that kind of Dwayne, is that where your inspiration comes from a little bit in terms of like wanting to be a rapper? Do you want to be like an influencer? Do you want to be like?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I have a story that in terms of like mainstream rap music has been told, but I feel like I can provide like a fresh perspective on it. And that story being that like my come up, it was like not easy, but like everybody has their own like baggage and like struggles in life or whatever. But like some cliches throughout like the rap genre, like having to come from like the projects or like drug ridden families and like things like that. Like that wasn't necessarily my story. Like I had like a decent like living growing up. Like I wasn't rich, I wasn't poor. My mom struggled. It was just me and her and everything. But we made it. And I want kids that are kind of like me, that like didn't go through the worst things possible in life, but they had their own problems, but still found a way to like pursue their dreams. And I also want to encourage anybody with a 9-to-5. If you hate your job, I don't hate my job, but I got bigger ambitions. Go for it. Just go for it.
Good stuff. Well, I don't know. I think I'm speaking for all of us when I say we're excited to hear where your story goes, for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a cool journey.
We're really proud
absolutely.
Of you,
we're glad for you. Glad to have you come on today. Tell us kind of what music means to you. Definitely give DKIRK a follow on Instagram. And what's your Instagram handle?
DKIRK94. You can follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. It's all the same thing. DKIRK94.
And your Facebook page is kind of blowing up too.
Yeah, a little bit. That's Dwayne Kirkland on Facebook.
All right, so give DKIRK a follow. Give us a follow over at UTIOM. Our Twitter handle is at UTIOM_blog, UTIOM blog. Our website is utiom.com, utiom.com, and our what's our Instagram handle?
Instagram is just at UTIOM, at UTIOM, and then same thing with Facebook.
Good stuff. So we'll be back, you guys, next week. But before we do that, we need a song to play us out. DKIRK, you got something for us?
Let's do just to follow up with like the conversation we just had and the music we just played. Play No Problems.
All right. I'll get that up. No Problem by Chance the Rapper. Thanks for kicking it with us this week, guys. Thanks to DKIRK. See you guys later.
Later.